thank you all for coming out here today. This is an overwhelming response. We thought we'd have 100, maybe 150 people here today. We could have 500 people in this audience, and people are still coming in. Thank you very much. We're trying to get some chairs. As soon as we get some chairs for people in the back on the side, we'll get them as soon as we can. I take it you're all still angry about the pension scandal and about taxes and how government's treating it. Would that be correct? Yeah. You're at the right place. So let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to bring up my friend and partner, Kliesmet. He's going to do a quick slide presentation. Chris.
Thanks, Orville. Wow. Wow. It's probably been 8 years since I've seen a crowd like this. There's going to be more chairs coming in. I understand. Someone just told me there's people still out the door. So if there are chairs, if people want to point, hey, there's a chair. All right. Yeah. Boy, I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you where to put this overflow crowd. They're just, please. Many of the people I see in this audience tonight, I met during the Seymer recall. I was 46 years old back then, totally apolitical, living the American dream. But what I saw, when I stuck my head under the hood was so outrageous I just couldn't stop. And here we all are 8 years later. And something interesting happened that wasn't highlighted because we didn't have a recession then. Tens of millions of dollars went into the government for a program and a perk that most of us don't have. I know I don't have a pension. I have a 401k that I pay into. Well, we took care of that problem. But as things evolved, the baton was passed. And as harsh as this is going to sound, we have a situation where we have a county board that is simply out of touch. And I make a chilling statement that is no offense to the people who do fight for the taxpayers, many of them who are in this audience today, but that county board is a reflection of the ethics of the leadership that county board elected to be their chair. And you can read the slide for yourself. It's been in the news. I'm not going to go over it. We are at a point now where we have a county board that elected a leader despite the litany of things you see on this slide. You know, when I asked some people, and I overheard some comments, how could that be? There were 45, 46 votes. Somebody help me out. How many votes were there before they came up with a chair? Somewhere in that neighborhood. And finally, I heard somebody said, well, I placed my vote for Chairman Holloway because his politics were closer to mine. Understand the power and the ignominy of that statement. I don't give a darn about ethics. I don't give a darn about integrity. His politics were closer to mine. These are people who put politics ahead of ethics and integrity. I don't care what you say, it's the truth. Yes. Freddie, move on, please. I mean, I thought it was particularly ironic that recalled former county board chair Karen Nordens through her entire recall election, which, by the way, don't think your vote doesn't count. That was a 3-vote margin election after a recount. Your vote counts. Don't ever believe that it doesn't. Back then, she did her most brilliant Sergeant Schultz impression. I know nothing. I wasn't informed. It's not my fault. Yet this is the same person who got up and testified that, well, you know, maybe we did know what was going on. And I'll tell you, that testimony may have, well, undercut the county's case against Mercer and cost us $100 million. I would call that her second recall. And probably the reason that we've become so vocal here today and why we've tried to bring you together. We've tried to move outside the county, bring all of our neighbors from across the state together. But you know, the pundits told us, and there's a Journal Sentinel editorial, CRG, citizens of Milwaukee County, you know what, it's time to go home. You've scolded the politicians, give them some breathing room. You shouldn't be sitting there watching them over their shoulder, 2 inches behind them, breathing down their necks. You need to go home and give them some breathing room. They were wrong. All right? Wrong.
Amen.
And we keep seeing Joe the plumber. He's been in Wisconsin a lot. You know what his thing is? You know what? We're the people who go to work every day, take care of our kids, pay our taxes. Yeah, maybe we took our eye off the ball, but you know what? We're going to have to put in a little overtime now. And that's the case. We got to keep these disasters from repeating and repeating. And finally, let me say this. We can't allow just one person any longer to play the Lone Ranger. One of those Lone Rangers is going to be speaking to you later. We, the people, need to stay involved. After we leave here today, most of what we're going to talk about the rest of the day is how to do that, how to do it simply, how to do it inexpensively, and how to do it without taking up a lot of time. It is so easy, and we'll talk about that more. But we also have to back up. We have to be the posse that mount up is ready to go when the few left on the county board who do represent us are out there fighting for us. They can't be the Lone Rangers. We can't have a Scott Walker, for example, going up there and taking all the heat and being the point man and thinking that they're going to carry the day. I'll tell you what, you got to have some government, but I'll tell you another thing. We can be that government. Think of what we did so many years ago. If you have a chance, go to our website. Look at all the people who have done after what they saw the people in Milwaukee County do. We can keep doing it again. I think one of the things you read about is a 3 to 5% negotiated pay reduction. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that negotiated pay reduction, furloughs, whatever they may be, is going to avoid massive layoffs. The private sector, the rest of us, we don't get to negotiate boss, can I have a 3 to 5% pay increase if I could just keep my job? We don't get that. We get a pink slip. That's called 9.8% unemployment. 9.8% unemployment, 10% line. This is about making government live like its citizens. Point number 2. There's talk about a 5% pension contribution. Now it's true, government employees did not ask for that pay increase. They took it, and perhaps many of us would too. But we are in recessionary times. Paying 5% against a very generous pension benefit is not unlike, again, what the people outside government do. They largely don't have pensions and are making contributions to a 401k plan. And I can tell you what, I put in more than 5%. Because I'm not planning on anything being around left in Social Security for me in 20 years. And let's understand where that pension came from in the first place. We haven't talked about it much, but you know what? Yeah, great, it happened because of the state law being what it is, we couldn't take it away. But you know, now it's time for government to once again live like its citizens. And this is a very, I think, common sense approach. Next one, Randy. I think the third leg of that stool in the proposed county budget are medical co-pays and out-of-pockets that are increased to meet national averages. Again, this is just like the people in this audience pay. We're not asking that government do anything that we are not already doing. We just don't think it ought to be that protected class that gets insulated from the pain that we feel while we continue to pay. And finally,